I have put together the strongest possible team to do what the nation needs to make us the nation we want to be in the future, a stronger and fairer country. First, Bob Carr will join the Senate and will take on the role of Minister of Foreign Affairs. Until he is able to be sworn in the Senate, Craig Emerson will continue to act as Minister for Foreign Affairs. Dr Emerson will take on an expanded role as Minister for Trade and Competitiveness. I want Dr Emerson to play a role making sure that our nation seizes all of the opportunities it can from the spectacular growth in our region in what I have dubbed the Asian century. Brendan O'Connor will move into Cabinet and take the position of Minister for Small Business as well as Minister for Housing and Homelessness. Small businesses are absolutely central to the Australian economy. It is the aspiration of many working people to create their own small business and for that to be their future, and I believe that small business should be represented at the Cabinet table. Attorney General Nicola Roxon will take the additional portfolio of emergency management, which I have made clear should be a cabinet-level appointment. Tony Burke will take on the additional role of Vice President of the Executive Council. For ministerial changes, I have determined to make the following appointments. Kate Lundy is being promoted to the ministry as Minister for Sport and Minister for Multicultural Affairs, as well as the Minister assisting for Industry and Innovation. David Bradbury is being promoted to the ministry as Assistant Treasurer and in the newly created position of Minister assisting for deregulation, that is, working with Senator Penny Wong on that very important seamless economy work. Jason Clare will take on the additional portfolio of Minister for Defence Material. Kim Carr will move to the crucial services delivery portfolio of Human Services. Minister Greg Combay will continue to be responsible for manufacturing at the Cabinet table. I want to thank Robert McClellan for his many years of service in the ministry. Robert will be taking up a position as a backbencher. I'm now also announcing changes to the parliamentary secretary ranks. Jan McLucas will, in addition to her current responsibilities, become my parliamentary secretary to the Prime Minister. Richard Marles will assume wider responsibilities working with Bob Carr. His title will be Parliamentary Secretary for Foreign Affairs, as well as his current responsibilities. Bernie Ripoll will become a Parliamentary Secretary. He will work to the Treasurer. Sharon Bird will also become a Parliamentary Secretary and she will play a role working with Chris Evans in higher education and skills. Jacinta Collins will become Manager of Government Business in the Senate following Mark Arbib's retirement, including from that role. I want to thank all of the ministers who have served the government so well in their portfolios and capacities. I will be delighted to recommend this new ministry to the Governor-General on Monday the 5th of March. I'll now hand over to Bob Carr, who will say a few words, and then we'll be happy to take your questions.
Thank you. One of my proudest days was the day after the opening ceremony of the Olympic Games. Around the Opera House, around Bennelong Point, Australians were gathered, and in that beautiful spring weather, they were full of pride at what their country had done the night before and of what laid in prospect. They were full of pride in a country that's sweet, happy, brave. I was offered the opportunity of signing on for more public service, and I couldn't say no. You don't choose the moment. Very often the moment chooses you. I did not expect to head a government that put on the most praised Olympics of the modern era. But when the moment came, I had to speak up for that project and in many of its venues try to define what Australia stood for as this new millennium opened up. Today, I think of this Australia with its legendary economic success, with its social progressiveness, with its openness to the world, and of course, as a public servant, habituated to public service, I said yes. I want to praise the achievements of Kevin Rudd in foreign policy. The establishment and consolidation of Australia's membership of the G20, his G20 advocacy was outstanding. The single regional institution for Asia, the US membership, of the East Asia Summit. The leadership on Libya and Somalia, Australia becoming under his leadership the 7th largest aid donor in the world. And I admire the way Kevin Rudd saw a window of opportunity in Burma. I want to build on these, and I want to seek his advice and his views. When the Prime Minister asked me, I said, I'm enlisted. It's an honour to serve. I look forward to talking to you about some foreign policy challenges, the Security Council question, Australia's membership of the Security Council, and what I see, if you're interested, as some of the major agenda items in Australian foreign policy. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I've promised, Bob, that I will keep you, our happy dysfunctional family, in some sort of order, so I will. So we will go Phil Hudson, Phil Coorey and then Latika, and then take another tranche of questions. Phil.
Could you please outline exactly what happened this week? Because both of you said no offer was made, and yet Mr Carr is standing here as your Foreign Minister. Could you please explain to us the exact course of events, what happened, why we were told there was no offer, and that he's now here?
Well, he's now here because I made an offer to Bob Carr yesterday to serve as my Foreign Minister. I made that offer having had a range of discussions during the week, including speaking to Bob Carr. I made that offer because I thought he should be a member of the strongest possible team to deliver the government's agenda, and I was delighted when he accepted my offer yesterday. Phil.
In extension to that, is it accurate to say that there was an initial discussion about Mr Carr earlier in the week, and then that came to nothing, and then that was renewed again yesterday?
Phil, I am not going to go through the many conversations I've had this week in putting together a reshuffle. Of course, you have many conversations. Had a conversation, indeed more than one conversation with Bob. I finalised my thinking yesterday on the shape of the reshuffle. I spoke to Bob yesterday and made him an offer, and I am delighted he accepted it. Latika.
Prime Minister, did any of your ministerial colleagues advise you against bringing Bob Carr to Canberra?
My ministerial colleagues, I believe, will be delighted to see Bob Carr serve as Foreign Minister. Once again, I am not going to canvass discussions during the course of the week, but ultimately, as leader, I've made a decision, and that's why Bob Carr is here today. Yes.
Is the decision because you were unable to move Stephen Smith out of defence because of the turnover we've seen there? Is that why you couldn't move him into the Foreign Minister?
My decision to have Bob Carr serve as Foreign Minister and for Stephen Smith to stay in the portfolio of Defence are all part of the decisions that I've made to present the strongest team to do what the nation needs to do now, to make sure that we deliver on the government's policies and programs, to make sure we deliver our vision for the future. Yes, I'll take at the back and then go across. Yet.
What was Stephen Smith's reaction when he was told he wouldn't be Foreign Minister?
As Stephen Smith has said both publicly and privately, he was willing to serve the government in any capacity. Stephen's got a lot of work in front of him in the defence portfolio. There are major decisions that need to be made in coming months. Our transition in Afghanistan, our delivery on the capabilities that we need, major decisions in terms of the working of the portfolio itself. Stephen Smith is doing a great job as Minister for Defence, and he will continue to do that